Hi everybody, how are you? It's Robeezy for Sheezy in a joint. If you I'm looking at I can see my reflection in the camera and I'm like, ooh, that's not okay. Anyway. I know that some of you have read my post that I put up today, and I got a couple messages in my inbox, and I got a phone call, a couple phone calls from people that I love, just checking on me and making sure things are well, but, saying, yeah, screw fear, basically. What a challenge, yeah? What a challenge to deal with fear. And sometimes I feel like, for example, today, and I could be incorrect about this, but I'm just going to go with this thought. Excuse me. I think that sometimes spirit, God, whatever you want to call that super intelligent source that is the author of everything that is, can put us in positions to grow. And if we thought too long about it, or if the permission was given to us whether we should have the experience or not, we'd say, no, I don't need that. So sometimes it almost might trick you into that space. I don't want to say trick because that sounds way more methodical than it probably is. But, divine placement for where you need to be and what you need to be doing in order to take the next best step, or the next bold step, or the next step towards your growth. We don't always know what that needs to be for ourselves. We claim, I know that I get grateful about a lot of things that are happening in my life, and I also ask for divine guidance and assistance and friendship and growth and understanding for the next step to take. And as my friend Shakim would say, understanding for the next step to take. And, who wants to put themselves in the lion's den with fear? Who would put themselves in the position that would make them challenge, the deepest part of you to move through something? Most of us wouldn't do it. You wouldn't even know how to do it because you're so afraid of it. And today, I kind of haphazardly ended up into something. And all I could do was say, you did this to yourself. I knew that I said yes to coming out. I knew that I said yes to doing it. And then when I was there, I was like, why did you say yes? And it was like, you know what? I am said yes. Your ego wants to say no. And I'm going to tell you, I had a serious battle today. I was on the battlefield with my greater I am and my ego self. And my ego was almost about to win, but something about the development, the self-development that I've been doing and the way that I've been feeding myself on a regular basis made it more painful to go with my ego's normal response than to go with my new pattern that I've been developing. And initially, because this was, and you would be surprised, some people are surprised because they're like, yo, you sing for a living. I've been performing professionally for over 25 years. And here I am still dealing with the fear of not wanting to be put on the spot. I just don't like it. It puts a knot in my throat. My stomach starts trembling. I like to be prepared, and then I can go and shine, if you will, because I feel like I know where I am with this gift of mine. Okay, so the camera cut me off because I'm like at my capacity, but I hope I can stay with the flow that I was in because it was coming from a very sincere place, and so is this. I just hope that I'm able to keep that train of thought. But hey, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Isn't that what this conversation is about? Everything that happens, I gotta trust that this is exactly what it's supposed to be. I know that I do what I can to stay in alignment with what is for me. At the end of the day, though, I don't have to do anything. Hello. I choose to trust more. Be more faithful to the trust. And that doesn't mean that you can't honor yourself, too, because I was having that conversation with a dear friend of mine earlier, like, well, what about honoring myself? If you really don't want to do something, why can't you just not do it? But there was something bigger, I felt, that was calling me to step up in another kind of way. I felt like it got bigger than the audition. It got bigger than the situation I was looking at. It wasn't about booking a job at that point. It wasn't about, being great in the audition, it was more so about conquering a fear, taking a bold step in the face and slaying the dragon. You feel me? It was more about the inner growth that I would get because I took a step in the direction of that, being great and accepted was secondary. And that was huge to me because I'm like, man, that's seriously like telling the ego, you got to sit down on this one. It's not about you right now. And in a certain, in a way it is, because, it's like weird. If you ever study about the ego, it's like it can trick you and morph and become something else. And then you think it's not that, but it's still that. But this was bigger than that. It was more for my inner standing. It was more for my growth. And I'm still working through. My ego is still like licking its wounds because I'm like, I didn't feel like I was in my best form, but it ain't about that, mama. And what I realize is that when that feeling screams louder than the other, I gotta follow it. And maybe, because I'm taking the time to fortify myself the way that I am so that I can face fear, so that I can be courageous, it said, you got to do it. And it was funny because one of my buddies that was at the audition today, he said, you got to put your money where your mouth is. I'm like, I know. I know I do. And so I got to go out here. I got to do whatever kind of breathing, deep breathing or whatever. I got to do that so that I can go in here and show up. And I still had to sing through butterflies in my stomach, like literally felt like my stomach was moving. I can't control my breath the way I normally would, when I feel like I'm in the space I want to be in to do something. I still kind of had that knot in my throat. I still got it there right now, believe it or not. But it was a huge thing to face. And because I've chosen to be a personal power coach, something that I've coined myself just because I had to help myself and I decided to help others while I was helping myself through my own stuff, it was even bigger for me. I want to be able to speak from that space and help somebody else move through some stuff for themselves. And like I said, I did toss up that thought of, well, what about honoring right where I am, and I don't want to do it. But then I had to assess, where is that coming from? Because this is a fear-based thought. We're going to conquer this. We're going to slay the dragon today. And even though I don't feel the complete victory of it at this particular moment, me and my Facebook stuff, even though I don't feel the complete victory of it. I know it in my logical mind is saying, Ro, you did something big today. You did something good today. Even if you can't feel it yet, mama, you did something big today. Eventually it's going to translate into a feeling. It's going to translate into wisdom. It's already translated into wisdom. It's going to translate into something even grander than it currently is. I'm just dealing with the walk with the ego, and we all deal with the same thing. This may not be your battle, but you got something. And so when you're faced with that thing, what are you going to do? If the feeling is greater that this is something you probably need to do because this other thing is based in fear, go ahead and take that bold step. I've already said to myself, all right, Ro, when the next one comes around, you got to be willing to take that bold step again, and then again. And then as I continue, I think I mentioned this before, if you watch any of my videos, sometimes we'll be operating at a level 5, but you want to know what life is like at 7, where you're going to have to do some things that are totally out of your comfort zone. And it may be on a level 6, and might scare the crap out of you. But at the end of the day, go ahead and do it for yourself if you know that it's going to benefit your bigger picture. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do the uncomfortable. Go ahead and allow yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway. Shout out to Susan Jefferson. Hope I'm saying her name correct right now. Go ahead and do that for yourself so that you can build on that thing and you can truly start living more of your full potential. And I'm sharing this because I've chosen this path, and I've chosen to share my path with you so that not only can I empower myself, I can empower you as well, or help you to empower yourself as well. How's that? So all the best to you. Thanks for listening to my my talk. If you did listen to the whole thing, then this was for you. All the best to you. And until next time.